Hello there, everybody. So here we are again at the Windy City Fieldhouse. Just to let you know, it's probably going to be a little bit of background noise. We're starting to get back to some sense of normalcy here. We have, I think by appointments, we have people back in the gym playing basketball. So you're going to hear some ambient basketballs dribbling, and we're going to go ahead and get into some of our own basketball work today. So you're going to need two basketballs. Cool. We're going to start by sitting, warming up our legs and our arms, and then we're going to go over some passing, some dribbling, and then shooting form. If you don't have a hoop to shoot at home, no problem. We can just go over all the basics of your shot should look like, okay? So I'm also probably going to do more coming to the screen, explaining what I'm going to do and show you, and then actually just stepping back and showing you, okay? Just to combat some of the noise. But let's go ahead, legs out in front of us, we're going to sit down, put a ball on one of your toes, and we're going to stretch it out, okay? Ball on top of both toes, you just hold it there. Keep the back of the knees on the floor so you're getting straight legs when you stretch. Roll it back up, put it on one foot this time. Keep the other hand stretching forwards. And then switch. Good, 3, 2, 1. Now spread the legs out wide. Good, take both hands and go over to one side where the ball is, okay? Good. Take it and switch. If you wanted to, you could put your head down. Elongate the stretch a little bit. Back of the leg. Go up, reset the spine, and then go over. Good. Now let's go ahead and do our 1-inch dribbles as we try and reach our toes. And we're going to go left arm reaching for the right foot. Right? So we're going a little crisscross action here. Switch sides when you're ready. So a nice little easy warm-up. If you're not able to dribble this small quite yet, this is a good little practice tool that you can use in order to really see where your control is at. Whenever you stand up with me in a little bit, we're going to start to get into some of those fundamentals, okay? So let's go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and stand up. And let's just finish our stretch though, so ball up, and then down to the floor. Down to the floor. Good. Now, widen your stance and just twist it out a little bit. We'll finish up right here. And go into dribbling first, okay? I'm also letting my hips kind of turn as I do this. So I'm stretching my arms, my back, and my lower body a little bit. Okay, shake. And let's first go ahead and put the ball down and just make sure that we understand what a nice stance would be. So your knees are bent, they're at the same level, all right? And your shoulders, you want to make sure that they're not tilting over at all. You're nice, and you're here. And you want to be a little bit bent in the knees because if you're straight-legged, really when you play defense, you want to be down here to begin with. So if you start here and then have to go low, you're wasting valuable time that could really be spent making sure that you stay in front of the offensive player when you're on defense, okay? So start here. And now when we dribble, of course, it's because we want to be able to go in all directions. Once we find a nice solid foundation, we're able to quickly either dribble both ways, stop and come back. We can turn our body, spin our body, whatever you want, all right? But let's just start with our stance. We're going to dribble the ball right in the middle of our legs, okay? And I want you to do that 25 times, right? Now, the other hand right now, I was just leaving right here on my leg because we're going to be more specific once we build on this, okay? So when you go ahead and dribble, try and get up to the letters on your chest, right? If you had a jersey on, you're on your team, right up to where your heart is, okay? You don't want that ball to go too high, okay? Because then you start to get a little bit out of control, right? And the last thing I would say is you want to try and make sure that all this really comes from the strength in your wrist, if possible, rather than that humongous motion in the arm, all right? It's all about that control. The more that you really kind of throw your entire arm in there, the more power on the ball you're having to control. Since we're just starting out here, I'm actually just feeling the ball in my fingertips a little bit, and once I feel it there, I'm just in the wrist, just flicking down, okay? So, you're probably at 25 by now. Let's go ahead and start to put the ball in front of a toe, right? So I'm going to use my right hand right now. And it's right in front of the right toe the entire time. you get to 25, switch. If you notice there, I allowed the ball to pop into the middle on my dribble to cross sides, okay? So once you get to 25, go ahead and specifically make the ball bounce between those feet in order to cross over, okay? Again, just establishing that control, right? The more you're able to do that consistently, you're not even gonna have to look at the ball, cool? But for now, if you do need to, make sure that you're right where you wanna be, and then try and get your eyes off the floor, okay? If you're in a basketball game, you're probably gonna be looking around, seeing where the offense is, the defense is, okay? Let's go to 10, and let's make them just at knee level now, okay? Before I really get into that with you, please, I do this all the time, it feels. No bent backs, no curved spines. Straight back, okay? Let the muscles in your back develop. And then have the proper form and shape. Once you get to 10, boom. And then whenever you cross over this time, let's purposefully try and keep the ball below our knees too, right? So that means in order to receive the ball, okay, we're gonna have to get the other hand ready to go. Don't wait and get caught watching the ball as it travels, and then just barely get your hand out there in time. Nope. My hand is essentially right where the ball wants to go, and then as it comes in, it starts to go out. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and just back it up a little bit. I was mentioning having the fingertips on top of the ball as you dribble, or actually kind of like the finger pads is what I call them. I have kind of a little bit of a fat finger there. So that extra skin is what I tend to go for, okay? And anytime I'm dribbling, I'm pushing straight down on the ball, but I'm actually allowing a little bit of a spin to occur as well. This is getting into some more advanced concepts, but whenever you give it that slight rotation, it's naturally gonna come back to you a little bit, okay? But the sensation of feeling the finger pads on the ball is so specific that it's really gonna be able to train the muscle memory, okay? Now the point I wanna make is whenever you have to cross over, you're also gonna have to change the angle at which you dribble, right? So if you're just dribbling straight down, obviously, your hand is going straight down, or the wrist is going straight down. Whenever I change sides of the ball, I'm also changing where I place my hand on the ball and how I push down, okay? It might seem pretty simple, but you really have to get used to that idea in order to vary how far or how small your patterns can be, okay? So here's what I want to finish with doing. Let's go ahead and keep it at knee level. Let's do 5 on each side. Let's do it right in front of the toe. And let's try and do that transition that I talked about, where your hand is already there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time the ball is going to stop and transition, okay? Good? All right, so now let's finally talk about this other hand that I'm purposefully just leaving out in no man's land, okay? You want this other hand to be ready to fend off any prying hands of the defenders, okay? If you're in an advanced level, you're gonna have people that are really reaching in to try and grab your ball, okay? This hand is totally free if someone comes in towards you to knock it away, right? Like a bowling ball, knocking some bowling pins down. If they're reaching into you, you have the right just to knock it away, right? You can't grab, start biting on them, just push it away. The other thing is, you can also turn your body and shield the ball the entire time like that. So for example, let's say that you know that you're going to be driving to the hoop, and there is the person that's guarding you, right on you and ready to pry the ball free. Then there's also the center on the opposing team, who's probably got at least 1 foot in the paint, and once they notice that you're going to start driving in, they're going to move over, and they're going to try and get hands on the ball too. All right? So, whenever we go in, I want you to make sure that you keep that ball nice and low. Okay? Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about moving past a defender. So if you've got an object that you can put on the floor just as a visual representation, go ahead and grab it right now, okay? What we're gonna try and do here, let's move into a new set of drills and tools that you can use. You can just vary whatever attack that you're doing every time that you approach the defense. So if I take like 3 to 5 steps back, and we stay at that beginning level I talked about, maybe you come up, and then your eyes are up looking at the defense, you simply cross over, and then proceed past, right? That's the big concept here. Try and put it in a game scenario. So I'm about 5 steps back, start my dribble, and maybe you want to or depending on what you've been exposed to and what kind of dribble moves you know, you can add those in there as well. So let's go ahead and throw one in for you now. Instead of doing a pure crossover, where you're taking the ball from the right-hand side directly to the left, or vice versa, and changing hands, let's keep the ball in the same hand and do an in and out, okay? So I'll show it to you first. Keeping the ball in the same hand the entire time, you show the same appearance as if the ball were to cross over and switch hands, but once it gets halfway there, you stop it and pull it back. So, no ball, you're dribbling, you were to go inside, get your hand on the opposite side of the ball, boom, get it back, all right? In, out, that's where it gets in there. So if you were to do this by attacking the defender, you could dribble up, start, set your feet, cool, then do the move. That's a slowed down version of it just to make sure that your fundamentals are correct. But then once you've done that many, many times, spend a couple of days practicing that move, you think you're ready to go and do it fast, come up and do it without any hesitation. Of course, your other hand is free to what? Get all the way into the paint, watch out for the person guarding you, and for the center trying to reach in. So let's do it all. Right, come up, and out, and then your hand can come up as you make that move. So a couple of things there to incorporate. Let's go ahead and do that a couple times. I'll give you one other dribble, we'll call it a pattern. We'll add in maybe 3 different steps, and then we'll go ahead and think of something else, okay? So in and out, and switch hands each time you go for this. Again, I'm only using something on the floor in front of me to show like visual representation. Me attacking the defender, getting to them. If you're ready to no longer set your feet, just advance, you can do that. And then go. So let's go ahead and do a couple of these. Once I'm done, we'll switch, okay? Up. That's my feet this time, and then go. So doing both options for you. Do it a few more times. And then try and get that arm bar in there. Try and block that ball as you go by. Okay? So let's go ahead and change this up a little bit. Let's add in, you've got the ball, let's say you've just received the pass. Let's go ahead and add a little jab step in there to make the defense, you're gonna make the defense think you're gonna go in one direction, and then you actually go the opposite way. This is definitely about agility, but also selling the idea that you're gonna go in one direction and then totally changing, okay? So just to show that, you got the ball, pretend you just got a pass, take a big step, use your shoulder, use your head, boom, right? Throw everything in one direction, boom, and then go the opposite way. The more that you can explode from here to here, the better, okay? So let's add that in first. Let's go ahead and start with that. It's almost like 2 steps in one, right? Jab, and then go in the opposite direction. Let's add to that once we get up here. Cross, cross. Oh, can we go between? Should we try that for you? We'll keep pushing the envelope as we go. Do it slow. Set your feet to start. So, jab, no. Cross, cross, between, and then you would go. Set your feet the first few times you do it, just to make sure once you're ready to do it at full speed and not stop those feet, you have more of a good foundation to go off of. Catch the ball, jam, go. Cross, cross, between, and then go. Good, so hopefully you're able to keep up with what we are here. This is definitely going and bridging the gap from very beginner to intermediate at this point, and that's what this is designed to do. Something beforehand was a little too easy, too common knowledge, maybe this is the part you've been waiting for, okay? So we'll switch it up after this, let's do 3 more. Boom, go. 1, 2, and then go. Go ahead and take the other way this time. I haven't done that yet. Alright, last one. Then we're going to go ahead and grab some cones with some of those, and then change it up again. Ready? Boom. Okay. So go ahead and grab 3 items on the floor, minimum, and we're going to make a line going side to side. Okay? I'm going to use a total of 5 cones to make this, but more so just so I can show you, okay? Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and talk about a spin move here, okay? Now, what I've done, you can see this, I'm going to start up here by red, okay? I've made a straight line going down with just 2 cones, red and yellow, of like attacking the basket. So you can think of this as the edge of the paint, and then the hoop would be right here, okay? So right now I'm at the elbow, which is 1 step off the paint. What I would do is I would attack this line, and then what I'm going to try and do is use these 3 cones like a wall, and make my foot mirror that wall. So now it's pointing horizontal, okay? So I'm just trying to break this down as simply as possible. You're actually facing sideways at this point, okay? So just showing those 2 steps. You start at the elbow, you attack the basket, you're going to turn towards the sideline, not towards the paint, towards the sideline. Now the back foot comes into play, it's going to step into the paint, and then you're going to turn over your shoulder, boom, and that's the spin move, okay? After I complete those movements, hopefully I've gotten some separation from the defender, and then depending on what the defense looks like, you can shoot, pass, or just try and score a basket, okay? So again, just walking it, go forwards, step sideways with the left foot, boom. Step with the right foot in the paint, and then if I'm here, I'll go ahead and pretend like we're going to shoot the ball, okay? Let's think about that. We'll break that down more specifically now that we are going to take the ball and add it in. Let's just go over the dribble motions, okay? Going from the elbow, you go down, right? I'm going to turn my foot to the side, super slow motion, but I'm not going to stop dribbling, okay? Really, you would try and do this in like 2 dribbles, this entire motion. Now, the big thing is, step into the paint here, and switch hands with the dribble, okay? Boom. And now I'm in the paint, all right? Let's go ahead and shift this over just a little bit. Stepping in the paint, I know you're losing me. I'm so sorry. There we go. Much better. So let's speed it up just a little bit. I'm only going to try and do 2 dribbles like I mentioned as I do the spin move right where I made that wall. So I dribble, and here I am, okay? Super slowed down. The more speed you can get into this, the more you can control the ball, the better, okay? Ready? Let's just do it 3 more times at slow speed. All right, 2 more. Oh, I hit the cone there. Still got the dribble though. Oh, poor thing. Okay, we'll do 1 more. Good. Okay, now let's go ahead and add 1 more thing in. Again, kind of pushing the limits towards beginner and intermediate, okay? What we're gonna try and show you now is instead of switching hands off the dribble on that move, what I want you to try and do is think about getting that ball whipped around your body, all right? Now what you're not allowed to do is carry the ball. So you're definitely not allowed to put your hand under then spin. Okay, so you have to have that over-the-top motion where really you're going fast enough where gravity's not affecting the ball and it goes as you go, right? So it's really fun once you get the hang of it, because it dramatically reduces the amount of time that it takes to get out of that move based on the dribbles, okay? So we're going to go ahead and talk about having moved on now from doing like 0 dribbles as you turn. We were doing a lot to practice, and then when we sped it up, we were only doing 2 or 3. Now we're going to try and do 0 and only get that dribble once you stepped into the paint. Right? You see how that dribble happens already where I want to go? Big thing about this is you got to sell it. You got to make it look good. So the defense isn't there when you show up there. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead. Let's be good boys and girls, and let's switch sides, huh? So I'm not going to tell you exactly how to break this down, because all you got to do is do everything we just did backwards, and that's a nice little challenge, yeah. So try and figure it out. Everything. The hand you start with, to the direction that your feet go, to what foot steps in, and which way you turn, okay? So try and get it together. kick out, a little dirt there. So I'm going to keep showing you. Let's go ahead and set up properly this time, coach. Stop doing those flashing lights. Right? Let's speed it up a little bit, what do you think? In order to do that, I'm actually going to give myself more space to attack this wall here as well. So all I did was I moved my cones back a little bit, right? Give myself more space to travel, that's all. All right, let's go ahead and finish this up. We'll do like last two. Ready? Those you keep an eye on me. Caught me on a travel there. Let's go ahead and slow it back down. Let's get it back to where it started. Cool. I'll slow it down one last time. Let's get our last one. Let's check back in, make sure we're all doing the right things. Including the switch of hand there, if that's still where you're at, okay? So, let's go ahead and just talk about two more quick things. If you've got a solid wall at home, the one thing I want you to try and do is take your ball and work on the steps in your passes, all right? I want you to take from your heart with elbows wide, a big step, and extend from the bent elbows all the way through with your hands to the point where those become straight, okay? Really whip that ball towards the wall. The challenge would be try and find a good location on the wall where the ball is not going to ricochet off, bounce, and then come back to you, okay? If you're doing nice, strong, whipped passes at the wall, hopefully you have enough velocity to get that thing to come back to you and do a chest pass, okay? Once you do that, last part of the challenge, I want you just to do those jab steps and then switch feet. So the entire pattern would be step and pass, and then you would catch, right? Since I started with my right foot stepping forward, boom. Yeah, you would go ahead and use the right foot again. So let's go ahead and do that right for you this time. You would take, step forward with your right, pass, catch, then take the right foot again, step across to the left and back. Now you go forward the left, pass. Left goes forward, and then you reset, boom, okay? So definitely wanted to make sure I included at least one little passing drill in there for you. All right, last thing I wanted to talk about and give you to do before I send you off, if you've got something on the floor that you can work on, a really easy way to think about a step back jumper, okay? Let's just call this a button, right? So I've got it here. You would pretend, if I angle myself this way, for example, that the hoop would be right in front of me. And all you're gonna try and do, start without dribbling, take either foot, step in front, and now with the weight on that leg, hop back. Your feet wanna be all squared up with the basket, and then you shoot. That's your step back jumper there, okay? All we're doing is breaking it down so it's a little bit easier terms to think about. Literally all we're doing is stepping over something, or if you want to think of it as a button, just step on it and then hop back. The big important thing there, last thing I'll say before I send you off to practice yourself, is if you notice my body right now, I'm turning and shielding the ball. If the defender's right there, he's going to reach in. If I'm lazy with the ball, it's gone. So when you step in, protect the ball. If you make a little contact, that's fine, right? As long as you don't charge them and they don't fall to the floor and flop and they draw a foul, right? You're here, you step into them, boom, then jump back. With that, a little bit of a push from the shoulder, right? Not coming from the elbow, you definitely can't push out. You come here, you elbow a little bit, boom, you gotta gather the ball, no extra dribble. Come up, step on the button, gather the ball. Last thing I was going to get to was the feet have to point straight ahead, okay? So a few fun things to wrap up there after our dribble practice today. I hope that this was able to help all of our beginning basketball players out there. I hope to be able to see more of you soon. If you have any other comments, if you have some videos of you practicing some of this, we'd love to see them, of course. But until next time, thank you very much again. This is Coach Rob from the Windy City Fieldhouse saying take care. Bye-bye.